Here. Hello, everyone. Just me again today. I think I'm live. Let me know. I'm not going to bother to pull it up today. I'm just going to trust the process. So just me again today. Short stream, weird time, Sunday at 11:20 a.m. Pacific time, but still a pretty great time to stream. Happy to be here. Dogs are excited too because they usually know this is the time where they get some treats out of it. Come here. Come here. Take it. Can't really. There's one right here too. Oh, there she goes. Hello, Sneaks and Queen Bee. Good to see you both. Happy Sunday to you. I think on this stream we're gonna be doing some. I'm gonna play a game. I was like, what could be a fun, interesting game that seems mindless, could still chat, hang out, but also provide some kind of visceral fun. And I saw that Dead Island 2 had just released on Steam for a cheap price. It's been on the Epic Games Store, sequestered there as an exclusive for a year, but it came out on Steam. It's on a big sale. I never played the original, which is kind of more infamous than famous. Very, it had this crazy trailer back in the day that really misrepresented what the game was going to be. It's just a zombie killing simulator. You slaughter a lot of zombies with some exotic weapons. There are a lot of these types of games. What's the parkour one? Dead something? I played that one not too long ago. But this is the one where the first one you were on an island. Now you're in Los Angeles, which is where I live. I heard the game is gorgeous and pretty funny. And slicing and dicing up zombies seems like everybody likes slicing and dicing zombies. We don't have our producer here today to keep us on track, so I thought, you know what? Let's slice and dice some zombies together, get high, chat, talk about cool things. You guys will have to keep me honest. And to start us off, we'll start off with a nice little, I was going to say dab, but I don't think I have my mini nail on here yet. So let's turn that on. And instead, our first volcano bag of the stream. And we'll dedicate this one to everybody out here in chat who's popped up to say hello so far. Sneeps, Queen Bee, Uninspired, and Sega. Good to see you all. Uninspired says, sup, Wheats. Hope you're doing well. One of these days, we got to run some Smash Bros. Uninspired, yes, please. I would love to. I know one thing I would want to do before that happens. I would definitely want to hook my Switch up to Ethernet, especially for something that is very latency dependent, like Smash Brothers. But hey, shouldn't the router's in here? The Switch is in here. It's got an Ethernet spot on it. But I would love to. I am very bad uninspired at Smash Brothers, even though I played an ungodly amount of it. You find these things out when you only play one person, which is been my Smash Brothers experience for the last 6 years, just my wife and I. Of course, I played a shit ton of Smash Brothers with a bunch of people on the 64 and the GameCube and stuff, but we played hundreds and hundreds of hours since it came out on the Switch together, just her and I. And you develop a very myopic strategy. You learn not to play. It's almost a handicap because you don't learn to develop your skills against a wide style of opponents, a wide variety of opponents with many different styles. You just learn how to counter one single person. You learn all of their idiosyncrasies, what they're good at, what they're bad at. And then you sort of hone your play to them and you let sort of atrophy all the other skills that your opponent isn't really trying to push down on you. So you get I've played hundreds of hours of Smash Brothers. but I'm probably worse than somebody who has played 20 hours of Smash Brothers Online in a weird just way because again, I only really play one person, which really distorts your ability to understand how the game is played. Or at least I think it's also just a pretty good excuse for when I lose. I can say it's not my fault. It's that damn producer of ours. Sega, good to see you, man. Sega says he loves me. He loves him some zombies and loved the original Dead Island, but he hasn't played Riptide or 2, which is no longer an island because it's in Los Angeles, which is kind of a cultural island. Well, that's not true at all. That's the opposite of true. Los Angeles is the cultural Rome, if anything. All cultures, both good and bad, probably more bad, sort of lead to us entertainment capital people here in Los Angeles. And that's not just like a hometown pride thing. That's just a cultural hegemony thing. Sneeps says, oh, that was Sneeps. I'm sorry. Sneeps who said he loved the original Dead Island, but he has not played Riptide, which was like an expansion, something spin-off. Never played it either. I can't believe I never actually played it, the original Dead Island, because it was a co-op experience. I like mindless killing of things. I've played some Hyrule Warriors, some Fire Emblem Warriors, those Musu Dynasty Warrior style games. And most importantly, it's co-op. My producer and I like playing co-op games, and it seems like something we should have, but somehow never did. I'm excited to do it now. I've heard it's really, really good looking. And I've got one of them sick ass GPUs. So I want to see some real good viscera. I want my stomach to turn a little bit. Rhode Island Hiker. Rhode Island Hiker, good to see you again, man. Rhode Island Hiker, I'm glad you're back. I've been thinking about you. You popped in a little while ago and said you picked up yourself a Quest 3. And I would love to know what you think about it. Rhode Island Hiker says, and Sneep's supposed to say that Dying Light is the parkour zombie game I was thinking of. And yes, that is it. A weird game that I actually thought was kind of inferior to the earlier version. Dying Light came out in like 2013, 14, 15, something like that, quite a while ago. And as the both Uninspired and Rhode Island Hiker said, Sneeps and Rhode Island Hiker, that it is a zombie parkour game. What a weird blend. But both of them worked. You get to run on the tops of zombies' heads, scale buildings. It's kind of like Mirror's Edge, if you remember Mirror's Edge, mixed with Dynasty Warriors, and all in first person. It was real neat. But the sequel wasn't as great. The running and jumping, the momentum, it just wasn't as fun. It just didn't feel as... it felt a little more automatic and a little less skill-based. And I suck at games. I'm not good at them. But that first one had this incredible sense of momentum, and like you could just hone into it and fly across this big giant map, and you felt like you were in control. And I don't know, the second game just didn't do it for me as much. But I did play it. That was a couple of years ago in a real dry spell. Uninspired says the Nintendo Online in general is notorious for their lag, so Ethernet is pretty essential. Yep, one of the big downsides of the Switch, especially, all of their online service is pretty dreadful. And of course, the console does not have Ethernet built in, except for the OLED Switch, which I'm lucky enough to have. The dock has one, but the original Switch doesn't have Ethernet. You have to use like a USB adapter. And of course, the Switch Lite, the handheld one, does not. And their online service is pretty shitty to begin with, and then you add in poor netcode for Smash Brothers on top of a bunch of Wi-Fi connections, and I've heard it's not great. And that's why I haven't played online. It's not because I'm terrified that I'll just be bodied by some 11-year-olds. It's that Nintendo services aren't up to par. That's why. Whew. I haven't done any of this fast. I've just been sitting here. Let's get this through. Uh, Jude, welcome, Jude. Jude says, "Yay, hello, sir. I just found your channel again. Well, welcome back, Jude. Thanks for being here." Hey, Jude says, "How did your ice cream business work out? Did you meet some fun people, make some new friends, or gain some interesting memories from that experience?" Jude, great question. Oh, wow, an excellent memory. Uh, Dude, you know what? Before we play any video games, I'm going to bookmark that for 1 second. Do not let me forget. But it's such a great question. It deserves its own weed unit by itself. I'm going to get through this bag, then we'll do a dab for our buddy Jude. I'll go over his question, and then we'll play some Dead Island 2. That's the name, right? Let's get through this bag. It says George A. Romero, our wonderful zombie godfather, dearly departed George A. Romero. Here's a fun thought experiment for you. Uh, big George A. Night of the Living, Land of the Day of the All the Deads. I think most people know about Night of the Living Dead, the first zombie movie, black and white, racial allegory. The most probably famous thing about it, and the thought experiment is you've got to wonder. This is in no way to take away from George A. Romero's skill, craft, inventiveness, basically created the zombie genre. But Night of the Living Dead, the first one, they famously fucked up the copyright on it and did not get it. The movie is in, or they let it lapse. I can't remember the exact story. I know it's not totally apocryphal. It is true. The movie is public domain. Like, anybody can own and show and screen copies of Night of the Living Dead because they just fucked it up somehow. And that catastrophic fuck up, I can't be the first person to have speculated this. I mean, it must be widely thought for, but in some ways, the thing that might have destroyed him could have been the thing that made his career. Maybe what made that movie so culturally the touchstone that it was, the wildfire that it spread was anybody could show it at any time, anybody could own it, run screenings of it because you didn't have to pay anybody, and that really pushed its, how far it spread and how many people had access to it, and really gave it this audience that it otherwise might not have. But what a weird story! What a crazy story! Just fucking up copyright on your big first zombie movie, and as sort of maybe as a result, I don't know the history well enough. Somebody probably out there is like, dude, come on, man, you do not know what you're talking about, and that's generally always true. But it'd be fun to make that argument that a fuck up led to Zack Snyder without the copyright without the copyright snafu of Night of the Living Dead, we might not have Zack Snyder's The Justice League. That's a through line. And I haven't forgotten about you two. I'm gonna do a small dab for our buddy Jude, and then we're going to go over his question, which is, oh, Jude, I'm so sorry. Jude is a girl. I was misgendering you, Jude. My total bad. Thanks for being here, Jude, and apologize profusely. My bad for the presumption. I'm trying to think, is Jude? I don't know if I've known any Judes personally. And Jude, would you let me know? Is your name Jude, or are you? Is it a? Is it short for something like a Judy or a? I've never thought of it as a um, sort of not gendered specific name, but I guess it definitely is. Well, I guess Hey Jude, that Jude is probably a woman. But I'm always fascinated with names and how they names now just seem to be much more gender flexible than they've ever been, which I think is pretty cool. And my bad. I know I won't make that mistake again of assuming a Jude. I'm going to blame Jude Law on that one. Jude Law, you ruined it for all the other Judes out there. Um, we got Katie B joining us as well. Good to see you, Katie B. Thanks for being here. And we got John J. MMA, aka Gonzo Baptist, here as well. Good to see you. Um, Uninspired asks, if you leave the smoke in the bong chamber for longer than a minute, it gets a bit rancid for me. Does the bag not have the same problem? It does. That is true. It doesn't get stale as quickly, I don't think, but it does. It stays fresher longer, but you do want to get through it quickly. It is unwise to do it at this point, both for a variety of reasons. It tastes bad. It's has that you described it as rancid. Not a bad analogy. Just yeah, sort of gone bad. Let's get through it. John J asked, anything you recommend from Catalyst I need to pick up? Grab some drops, $7 edibles. I did my one little bonus review on 420 last week. They're great. Little $7 edibles in a tiny little tin, easy to take with you anywhere. Not going to break the bank. Not going to make you sick from how much you have to eat. Awesome. And I can't promise this, but there may be another review at some point in the future, as I just found out. Let's get a quick caveat for the hypocrite in me, because here I am doing it again. There may be another review in the future because I found out on 420 when I was at the dispensary last week that Plug Play now makes disposables themselves. And I picked one up. I am hoping it is as glorious as their non-disposable line. But grab yourself some Plug Play while you're there, especially if you can get it cheap. But I would love to do a review of the disposable at some point, and fingers crossed it's as good as the others. All right, finally, uh, get through our rancid smoke. Time for our small dab for our friend Jude, and to finally answer the question of the ice cream bike. A thing I did for a year. Loved a lot, had a lot of fun doing it, met some wild and crazy people. I know I've told this story at, I think, maybe just one time on stream. Um, I think that's it. It's not a great story, not one that I feel good about or feel good about telling. It's it's kind of a weird situation, but let me just get into it. Um, I During the pandemic, I bought an ice cream bike, sold ice cream here in Long Beach from a bike with a freezer. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Um, but I did stop. I didn't want to stop. I actually still have the bike in my garage, and I do always have some ambitions of doing it again at some point. But the reason I stopped, not by choice, was one day I was out at a park and here in Long Beach, and some angry young man, very angry young man, and there's an extra special irony to this because okay, let me just get into the story. I'm out at a park and I just see a guy barreling towards me on this ice cream bike with his lady friend, yelling a lot of obscenities to me and yelling a lot of threats. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What did I do? And this fellow was a was an African American young man, and he's like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing out here, taking jobs from black and brown folks? This you don't belong out here, white boy. You're stealing from folks. This isn't your kind of job." And I'm like, "What?" I'd been doing it a while, was been there for a long time, lived close by. He's like, "This isn't your kind of work. This is fucked up. I'm gonna fuck your shit up." And then he just proceeds to trash my shit, like literally just starts kicking, smashing, breaking whatever he can with his bare hands and feet, literally just kicking the shit out of it. And there are so many people around watching. A lot of people being like, "Hey man, what the fuck?" But this is not long after, the George Floyd's protests. And I think a lot of people were, this is a bad maybe assumption, or I just felt like people were reticent to stop somebody from doing what they were doing, including myself. Like, anybody can beat the shit on me. I can't fight anybody. I'm a weak little coward, but I didn't even want to like try to physically just like get in between the guy, because I was like, I don't want anybody to misinterpret what I'm doing here. He's lobbing racial accusations, which, I'm not sure if are fair or not. I don't know if I'm disqualified from that as a job because of this color of my skin. There may be an argument to be made. I don't know. But even those people are like, dude, nobody was gonna want to be caught on camera stopping somebody from, physically trying to hold somebody back. And I wasn't going to call the cops. I didn't want to, this was again, that era. I didn't want to, even though it's just wantonly destroying my property and business. It's like, I don't want to be the guy who calls the cops on somebody and gets, I'm not even prior to that era. I don't think calling the cops is frequently the best solution for people, but especially then. Also, I live in Long Beach. They don't really do much here. And eventually I was able to pull the bike, which was pretty fucked up at that point. Mostly kind of rideable still, some bent things here and there, but a lot of the electronics and signage and the freezer components, all that shit was just trashed. And I could have, replaced and fixed it, but it was so dispirited. It was. I mean, I guess the word that people use, and I don't want to minimize anybody who. It was traumatic as hell. It was pretty traumatic. Like, it was a weird, unbelievable as it was happening situation, and it was just like I'd never been involved in anything like that, and then the just like watching people watch it happen, but and knowing that what they were seeing was like unbelievably fucked up, but also like we can't, and it's ooh. So I have not I have not gone back out since then. Um, uh, and it was I don't mean to cast aspersions, but it was a nice part of town. It was like right at the beach area with a bunch of families and tourists. I mean, of course, this was during COVID, so there weren't so many of those things then. But yeah, it was totally surreal. Um, it was. I don't want to hold anything against anybody, or I understand the circumstances of that time and era and place, um, and the tempers and motivations of people, but it yeah, it turned me just I haven't I said I haven't done it since. It was a weird experience. So sorry for the bummer of a story. I don't think I actually did the dab. I was just holding it that entire time I was saying it. My bad, Jude. That's the answer to your question. I did it for a while, had a lot of fun. It was so much fun, so interesting. It was such a different experience for me. I kind of would love to do it again, but it just was like you know, you were. I was in a daze for a while after that, and started to do other things, and kind of never went back. But maybe maybe today's a new day. It definitely seems like race relations have cooled significantly since then. Um, but and I hope that guy is doing better. I hope I hope whatever anger or grudge that he had or was bared towards whomever has passed. I hope he doesn't have that anger anymore. I don't have that anger at him anymore. I didn't was never really I was just yeah. But great question. Dab time. All right. Where are we? Again, I'm so sorry for the long answer. It was a great question. Jude, thank you again. Here's that dab. I'm repeating myself. Okay. Chat. Let's get caught up on chat. Let's play some Dead Island 2 as we keep threatening. Rhode Island Hiker, back to my earlier question. Thanks for replying. It says, I love the Quest 3. Got it pretty much day one. The FOV and pancake lenses are amazing. I've been playing a bunch of older games just to see how good they look. Um, and yes, Quest 3 is amazing. Rhode Island Hiker. I got it also day one. Lost my train of thought there for a second. Still back in my brain for the moment. Let's get out of that headspace. Um, I love mine too. I was just playing some Thrill of the Fight earlier this morning, the boxing game. In case anybody's wondering, I fixed my my boob. I don't have pecs, but was playing so much boxing. Who would have ever thought I would play boxing on Quest 3 that I tore a muscle in my chest? But it's better. I was out back at it last night getting my ass handed to me. Boy, I love that game. Never. It is one of many games on the Quest that have existed since the original. I think even they were on the Rift that never really got into because didn't have all the space. And now with the Quest 3 and mixed reality, I can, utilize the little space that I have and not punch a wall or hit a tennis ball racket into a media cabinet, any of that great stuff. So I played so much Thrill of the Fight and so much 11 table tennis in mixed reality, and it's really good. The mixed reality is really good on the Quest 3. It said this several times, was the thing that I didn't think I would have any interest in. I thought I've been playing using a Oculus since the Oculus Rift in 2016. I was a VR guy. I was like, mixed reality, yeah, it'll be cool as a gimmick every now and then. And honestly, outside of Asgard's Wrath 2, which is a fucking masterpiece and an incredible game and a total reason to buy a VR headset, just incredible, flat out, full stop. I've been playing mixed reality stuff the most. I love it too. It's so good. And those lenses, our buddy Rhode Island Hacker says that those the FOV and Pancake lenses are great, and they're such an upgrade. I've been playing PSVR 2 a lot recently, and even though it's got OLED screens and foveated rendering, I think maybe slightly higher resolution, they're close, maybe slightly lower, I don't know. It doesn't have those pancake lenses with those incredible clarity at all spots. Oh man, the Quest 3, I hate how much I love it. I hate how much I love it. It is sort of, I don't want to tell people to buy a Meta-owned product, but it's wonderful. And I hope at some point, I think that the Quest 3 really could at some point catch on. But then again, it looks like the Apple Vision Pro is underperforming drastically, so maybe even Apple can't gin up a market in the VR space. But I'm still optimistic. I'm still a true believer. Still a true believer. I do have a racing wheel now that for my PSVR 2, and I've been playing Gran Turismo with a wheel in VR. Holy hell, it has like the force feedback, so it fights against you in the turns. Oh my lord, guys, it's so great. I already thought Gran Turismo 7 in VR was one of my favorite video game experiences of last year, but if you have a wheel, it has like the force feedback and stuff. Holy lord, is it incredible. What's it going to take to get people interested in VR? It's amazing. It's amazing. It's incredible. Give it a try. All right. That was a long time for one comment. I think I was really waiting for that one. Mad Crypto MX, welcome back. Mad Crypto says, hello, friend. Hope you are well. Get high as fuck. He's in Thailand, and they legalized in 2022. Wow, I did not know that. Thailand, weed is legal, which is really a bucking the trend for East Asia. which has a lot of places with incredibly draconian weed policies. I mean, you can get fucked in Japan for having weed. I mean, truly, truly, um, in horrible, horrible, just years in prison. I mean, that's true. And most East Asian, I had no idea that Thailand legalized it. That is so cool. And probably um, is going to make a lot of people very rich and lead to a lot of tension with its neighboring countries, I would imagine, as it makes it much easier to smuggle and shit. But let's not look at it from that angle. And Mad Crypto, I didn't know you were in Thailand. How long have you been there? That's so cool. I was totally ignorant to that fact. Super neat. Thanks for being here. And congratulations, Thai people. Um, Sega asks, do I know a good shop to buy plug play products and such? I know Catalyst, the ginormous weed franchise in California, has like dozens of locations, definitely carries it. But I think the better answer, Sega, is if you go to Plug Play's website, I think they used to. My guess is they probably still do. They have a list of all of like the dispensaries that carry their stuff, so you can just if you have a dispensary close by to you, you can just cross reference with that list and be good to go. Um, David's daily dose of reality. Some good alliteration there. David's daily dose says, "What do I think of cannabis syrup? I think it's really good. I've had it reviewed it several times on different strengths, and one of my very few times I've been recognized in public was from the head of cannabis. I think is what he said was. I was walking all three of my dogs in Long Beach past an Irish pub close to where I had lived, and some guy goes, 'Hey, you're that guy.' And I'm like, 'Yeah, I'm that guy.' He's like, 'You've reviewed our stuff before.' He goes, 'I make the cannabis syrup. He goes, 'You reviewed our thing. Thank you, thank you.' I was like, 'Hey, no problem, man.' He's like, let me send you a bunch of swag.' I'm like, 'Don't worry about it, dude. I was happy to do it.' But I ran into him at a just driving by, walking by on a road here in Long Beach once. If you're out there, they make a good product. I haven't had cannabis in a while, but um, I tend to. It is great for its category, but syrup as a method for getting weed is not for me. It's just like I get the like cultural traditions with it, like mixing it with Sprite or whatever. But in my more focused way, that like thick syrupy stuff, it can be a little rough. But no doubting its potency. Matt Crypto, um, I guess. Oh, I'm gonna just see in the comments about my story. Thank you for all the support. Again, this was like 3 years ago now, so it's been quite a while. And I don't want to overplay or make you, I don't. Thank you for your kind words, but it's totally cool. Um, it was a while ago, and again, I think probably no longer an issue. I'm not even kidding when I say it was a very different world 3 years ago, and people we had very. I'm not also excusing that kind of behavior in any way for any real reason, but tempers were hot, and I've got kind of a douchebag face. Let's be honest. I got kind of a douchey face. And if you got a bad day and you're like, need a jackass, pretty good. Um, Grovel, welcome. Good to see you, Grovel. Grovel asks, what did I miss? Hopefully someone will fill you in, Grovel. Yet another harrowing tale. Where do I keep coming up with these things? If you were listening to our stream last night, you're probably going to be like, this guy's a pathological liar. Or compulsive. What's the difference? Compulsive does it because they can't help it, and pathological does it for some kind of material benefit, I think. But who's asking? Both true stories, though. Thank you again, people. I super appreciate the kind words. Katie asks, how many units in are we? Great question, Katie. And before we get to, I promise it's going to happen, Dead Island 2. Katie, your question does qualify for our question criteria. So we will give you a small dab before we. Well, I think we're almost caught up now on chat. Isn't that great? Isn't that lovely? Here we go. Thank you, Katie. And I don't think I even answered your question. This is Unit 3. At least I hope I didn't, because it would have to be way more units if I forgot already. And Katie, double thank you for saying units. I appreciate it so, so much. I'm officially, it's officially going to be a thing here. Alrighty. There we go. 3 units in. Almost caught up on chat. Rhode Island hiker talking about Quest 3 says, I feel the same. I hate that I love it so much, but it's amazing. And Asgard's Wrath 2 is one of the best games I've ever played. Rhode Island hiker, I've just missed you, man, because you're always, right on the money, batting 1,000, mixing metaphors, agreed on every single thing you said there. Asgard's Wrath 2, people they don't know what they're missing. They don't know what they're missing with that game. Oh my god, I'm going to share one Asgard's Wrath 2 fact with you. I think I remembered to actually take a screenshot. I am on certain, they're like mini games. Asgard's Wrath 2. MetaQuest 3 exclusive. I'm saying a lot of nouns. Just a shit ton of titles and numbers. Asgard's Wrath 2 is the sequel to a game that nobody really played that was an Oculus Rift exclusive. The sequel is a much bigger budgeted affair on the MetaQuest 2 and 3. Different headsets. And probably the biggest budgeted, most highly marketed, most pushed VR title ever, and for good reason. It is very much like a God of War type game and story and everything. Don't even really need to get in the story, but uh, it is a massive, huge open world action RPG with a bunch of so fun to play characters. You basically play two people at all times. A god who inhabits these heroes, these ancient Egyptian heroes, and you play a bunch of them during the game, and each of them interplay in certain interesting ways. And there are four of these main heroes that you play, and they all play so differently, but they're all just a total fucking blast to play. Just an incredible game. It's like, I really do think it could be VR's Skyrim type moment. It really is that good. But for this game that Meta, Facebook poured so much insane, I mean, so much fucking money into. And they did sell a lot of Quest 3 headsets, and anybody who bought a Quest 3 got it for free. It was essentially a pack-in game. But it's a little
Awesome, sir.
it's a little depressing. Wow, Jude, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Super, super, super appreciate it. I can't. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Truly. Uh, but Asgard's Wrath 3, just a dispiriting, depressing sign. It has these mini games, and I think you have to play them each once. And again, this is a thing that so much you would hope millions of people would be playing and have access to. But one of these mini games, they all have leaderboards. They all have independent leaderboards. And I suck at games. I have no problems, no qualms admitting it. I am not good. I'm not good at games. One of these mini games that you have to play once. Like, if you're playing through the game. Now, of course, I ate this game up and ran through it, but not like there were people, many, I would hope scores more, who made it to this point before me. The first time I played it, the very first time I played this minigame, I'm number one. I got number 9 on the all-time leaderboard, which is the heretofore, up that point, the highest I'd ever been on any leaderboard for anything ever. It wasn't that I played well or was good. It was just that I can't remember what the total number was, but it was very low. But it just it was horrifying to me. It was like, oh my God, there are so few people in the world who have been to this moment in this incredible experience. And here is a metric to let me know. If I'm the 9th best score at this thing that you have to do, that's terrifying, because so many people should be doing this. At one point, there's this hole in Asgard's Wrath 2. Incredible game, guys. I really cannot overstress that enough. It's so good. It's what if God of War plus Skyrim in VR. What if you could do all the stuff that you just watch in cutscenes in games, like instead of just pressing A to traverse, or pressing A to dodge the big giant kraken maw barreling down on you, and then you slice its head off. But what if you could actually do kind of some of those things? What if you're actually, it's awesome. And in addition to this 100-hour massive campaign, it has an awesome roguelite mode that was attached to it that's fully featured, really cool, really great. And one point, about a month after release, again, I'm not good. I was at number 84 in the world for this incredible roguelite mode. I I'm lucky if I'm in the top 50% of any given leaderboard on anything. It isn't, I don't bring it up to say like, hey, wow, man, he's good at Asgard's Wrath too. I bring it up to say like, oh man, there are just so few people actually experiencing this incredible thing. It's kind of sad. An even more dire one, uh, Sega Herman. You might remember the incredible classic. Guys, they keep promising Dead Rising 2, Dead Island 2, whatever the Dead is. I think we're getting to it, and I keep now getting further behind in chat. Here's your biggest sign that VR is in huge, well, it's specific to the PSVR 2, which has its own problems that aren't, it's in even worse shape than anything Meta could put out. And I don't think Sony has the wallet nor the patience that Meta does to make it take off. But Sega, do you remember the incredible Dreamcast game Sea Smash? The like breakout, like Arkanoid breakout slash squash racquetball game that was on the Dreamcast. Well, somebody made a VR remake of it on the PSVR 2. Was exclusive until very recently, and it's awesome. It's incredible. This niche Dreamcast game, somebody made a PSVR 2 version of it, and of course it's perfect for it. It's a racket sport, a thing VR is great at. I've played so much table tennis on VR. It's, it's incredible. It's a nearly one-to-one simulation. So you take a game that is basically like squash, but instead of battling another person, you're like breaking out a wall of bricks, like an old school breakout game where you're like hitting balls around. There's a little campaign attached to the game. I played it 6 months after it came out, so this isn't even anywhere near the release. Again, not good at games, not good at anywhere near games, not a good player, not a skilled person. This is while it was a remake, it was a big release for the PlayStation VR. On every single campaign level, all of them, I am in the top 10 on the leaderboards. And in two of the levels, I'm the number one player in the world. I mean, I was like a couple of months ago. I can't imagine things have improved since then. Although it's now on Quest, so maybe. But that's how dire it is. That I only played it one time. And I assume everybody else on the leaderboard had done the same thing. I'm not skilled. It's just that the market is that small. I did take screenshots of those, and I will use them to brag. Like, hey guys, you're talking to the number one on the worldwide leaderboard for a PlayStation VR 2 one-time exclusive that was a remake of a niche Dreamcast game. I'm gonna cut in line. I guess that was me talking to somebody waiting in line. That was a lot, but we got some VR talk. I get off track with VR. Mad Crypto clarifying about his Thai experiences. He just got here. He only spends a few months per year here, and they're not actually Thai. I didn't think so. I thought you were, here I thought you were Southern California, but that's so cool. He says it's crazy. You don't need a license to sell weed, so there are weed shops on every corner. That is amazing, and I truly had no idea. I mean, I would have bet a decent amount of funny money that wasn't the case, but super cool. And I hope that like here in the States, that sort of starts to spread, and Asia becomes more tolerant towards weed writ large. That would be awesome. I've never quite understood the. I mean, it's really all drugs there, but I don't really. I've never understood their particular like real hatred towards weed. Maybe it's the whole collectivist thing. Maybe it's not good to speculate. That all seems unwise. Um, Matt Crypto says yes, he's from San Diego. That's okay. Thank you for clarifying. Thundra Wolf, welcome. Thundra Wolf says, howdy, I have a question. I have an interview tomorrow at a dispensary. What's the most important traits to be a good bud tender? Thundra Wolf, thank you so much. Thundra Wolf, you get our next unit of weed for your great question. Thrunda. I think I was saying that wrong. I think I was saying Thundra. Thrunda Wolf. Thrunda, first, congratulations on the interview. I think the fact that you're thinking about it right now and wanting to put on a good impression and wanting to know what it is that your employer is looking for is a very great sign that you that they are already what they are going to be looking for. That was very clumsily worded. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. The fact that you're being so proactive right now and thinking about it makes me think that you're already going to have some of the characteristics that they are looking for in a candidate. I think I could maybe offer some generic advice. I want you to be, well, I don't actually know. Let's throw it to the crowd. Hopefully somebody's already taken it up a little bit, but let's help Thrunda Wolf out if we could, and give her some tips. My guess is the thing that they are going to be focused on the most is your sales skills, and then product knowledge second. They want to see how good you are at convincing somebody to buy, the top shelf stuff. How well you can pitch the more expensive things. And some of that goes hand in hand with product knowledge, like the difference between all of the products and the purported benefits and the purported, this strain is supposed to improve your feelings of anxiety, but won't mellow you out as much. And, all of those idiosyncrasies associated with all of the various strains. And now there are plenty of other three-letter acronyms that you'll want to be familiar with, your CBNs, your CBDs, your THCAs, all of those things. So having some of that, I assume, would be pretty super beneficial as well. But I think the most important thing is just displaying a sense of competency and every good bud tender should be an easygoing, engaging, and inviting kind of presence. And I think as long as you're like, you come across as warm, competent, and not criminal, I think you're going to do just fine. But I would love to hear anybody's advice for Thrunda, especially if you got anything more specific. I've never worked at a dispensary. I couldn't work at a dispensary. I could never ever do it. I can't sell things. I realize. I mean, I sold ice cream, but I can't be a salesman. I think I can't pitch things. I can't try to do the upsell. It's not in me. All of those, I don't have that skill set. I don't have the desire either. But if you do, I bet you will really thrive as a bud tender. wish you an amazing interview and good luck. And this bag is for you. Says, okay, I need to do this and I'll do it real quick. I hate having to do it all the time because it feels like one of these. It's Jude. Thank you again for your contribution. That was so incredibly nice and generous, and I really appreciate it. I just want to warn people, you got to be careful because if I get banned again, which who knows, all of that money gets forfeited. It basically goes into a little escrow account or something until it hits a specific value and then it pays out. But if they ban your account, if they remove you from the partner program, which they've done to me 3 times, I think at least 3 times, and then, just weirdly let me back randomly too. All that money unless I'm mistaken, don't understand, just gets forfeited. It just goes to Daddy Alphabet, who say like, "Oh, was a really nice donation to us," and it sickens me that that's happened to people before, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. And that is a real possibility. So, really take that into account if you ever think about doing something like that. That you might just be giving not just 30% of that, but all of that to Alphabet. And if you ever feel so inspired to do something like that, you can just give it to a cool charity in our stead, something that you like, and there it's guaranteed to go to the place instead of a real possibility that it won't go to where you intended it to go to. So I appreciate it so much, Jude, but I wish I had a chance to explain it first. I certainly hope that's not the case. I really don't want to get banned. I like doing this. It's a sucky thing when it happens, but I keep using the term banned interchangeably with removed from the partner program. I've only ever been banned from YouTube once. I've been removed from the partner program at least 3 times. But there was a time where I was just nuked from YouTube for a while. So that is always a thing to consider. But that was so generous, and I really, really hope it isn't a factor. It isn't a thing to worry about. But who knows? Capricious overlord's gonna capricious. All right. I think we're almost caught up. Crypto says, "Have I ever tried the Coldfire brand vape cartridge? He thinks it's the best he's ever had." I think I have, Mad Crypto. It is getting to the point now where there are times where I've gone, "Oh my God, I can't remember." I've been doing it so long and done so many reviews that it has happened. It's not super frequent, but it has happened where I've gone like, "Oh my God, I don't remember doing that at all." But I think I have done Coldfire. I'll have to check the archives. I did, by the way, throw out a couple of archive reviews that I forgot that I had. Last time, and here I go, I keep bitching and belly aching about all this. Belly aching? Weird. But last time I was removed from the partner program over a year ago, and was given a warning like, "Hey, if you upload anything like you had just uploaded, you'll receive a strike on your account." It's like, fuck. So I had a couple of videos that I had edited and uploaded already, but I hadn't published. They were just sitting there as drafts that I had forgotten about because I was like too scared to publish them because I got this warning that was like, if you, I didn't know what it was. So I just didn't publish them and forgot about them. And as I was doing live streaming and then uploading the little one off review I had from last week, I saw them there. I was like, oh shit, here's like year and a half old videos just sitting here that I forgot about. And I just released them last week. So if you see old videos of me looking much younger, much more handsome, maybe you'll understand why. KDB says the most important number on the SKU is grow date. I think this is advice for. Um, I'm sorry. I miss King Yeti's comment, and I'm so sad that I did. I don't know how I missed it. He says, self-awareness off the charts. Bravo. You do have a bit of a douchey face. Thank you, King Yeti. Thank you. It feels really, really good to have somebody back me up on that one. Like, you know, my partner, and our producer here, both of them, I say that I have chronic douche face all the time, and they're like, "No, you just have chronic asshole face." I'm like, "No, I really do think I have chronic douche face." So, King Yeti, I'm gonna take your comment, print it out, and next time they try to inflate my ego, I'll say, "I've got proof. I do have douche face." Thank you. King Yeti also then asks if I have tried the watermelon Rockstar. It's delicious. King Yeti, no, I have not. And wish I could do you a bag, but I'm still nursing this one. It does sound good. I think I've seen it, and it's neon green can. Watermelon flavor is usually delicious. Delicious. I'm gonna have to try it now. Um, Dude, I think I also missed your comment, which was, she says, I remember that you used to review the high dose edibles. Do they still sell those very high dose edibles anymore? In Canada, our weed is regulated, so no high dose cookies, etc. Dude, great question again. Yes. Well, no, I think. No, they do not sell those high dose edibles anymore. Those no longer exist. It's a perfect example of I don't know how I feel about it. I guess let me just pause it there and let's not go too far off on a tangent. In 2018, I believe, when California finally passed recreational laws, part of that switchover was much like you guys in Canada, we regulated things much more strictly in a variety of ways. And one of those was curtailing the extremely high dose edibles. Too many stories of high schoolers getting fucked out of their gourds eating a couple of gummy bears at a party or whatever. So they put a restriction of 100 milligrams, which is for the level. Some places are even lower than that. Some are 50 or, God forbid, 10. But yes, we since 2018 have had 100 milligram, 10 serving restrictions. Now that has been so wildly distorted in so many ways as to be effectively useless. And how has it been so skewed? Well, there was always a carve out for um, things like tinctures or capsules, um, things that weren't considered edibles. Um, but well, I don't. I can't even remember what the wording was for it, but there was a hiving off, a carving off for certain types of infused products, THC infused products, that it could still go up to 1,000 milligrams. Again, things like tinctures, capsules, um, of that very specific order. And what ended up happening very quickly was, of course, the people who had been on high dose edibles just moved over to like tinctures and things. And the idea of like a 10 serving edible has become so it's only exists in name only. The review I mentioned, the review I little did, surprise one, is a perfect encapsulation of this. It is a two gummy worm, smaller than gummy worm sized pieces of candy, smaller than your standard gummy worm, that is supposed to be divided into 10 pieces for 10 individual servings. And it's a $7 product. But of course, people don't do that. They just eat one of them or take a bite out of one of them. The price has come down so much. This is unremarked too frequently. I just don't think people quite grasp how. I mean, I have a real relationship to this, so I see it and have tracked it. But the cost of one of those 100 milligram edibles in the 6 years we have had edible weed has dropped. I mean, I mean, the cheapest one you could get back in 2018 was $20, and now you can find a 100 milligram edible for $7. The costs associated have not fallen that much. There are all kinds of other reasons that costs have gone down, but that also, when something is $7, makes people think it is not a thing that is meant to be subdivided, and people just consume these things. They sell single cookies now. Tiny little single cookies. Also, that there's like a cutting chart. Here's how you're supposed to slice this crumbly cookie. It's kind of just a joke, but we all accept it. And then there is so much proliferation and expansion of the things like capsules and tinctures and sublinguals and dips and all of that in the high dosage world, that even though we do have a 100 milligram cap, effectively there's 1,000 milligram cap. Effectively, at $7 for 100 milligrams, and you can buy effectively as many of those as you want. I'm going to say we don't really live in a capped world anymore. Legally, yes. In practice, not really. Not really. And I'm not complaining. Comment. God, Katie, I'm so sorry you mentioned this. Giving our Frunda the excellent advice. She says the most important number on the SKU is the grow date. Don't get hung up on whatever industry members and percentages or whatever. Get yourself the freshest product you can for your budget. Well, maybe that wasn't advice for an interview, but just advice generally. Thanks regardless. Appreciate it, Katie. Rhode Island Hiker says, back to the quest, says, took him a while to figure out the side quest, the main quest in Asgard's 2, played for hours and was having so much fun, and then realized there is a side quest that it was, he played for hours and hours and hours on just this side quest, not even realizing he was off on a tangent. And that's the kind of game it is. That's the kind of game it is where you can just lose yourself in some kind of tangent and then realize 4 hours later, like, oh shit, I wasn't even really doing the thing I was meant to be doing. I was just so happily distracted, wandering off doing my own thing. And it's that big, too, that you can have those experiences many times. Can't stress it enough. Asgard's Wrath 2, it's worth getting a quest for. Sega asks, do I like Assassin's Creed? Good question. Let's do another unit. Let's finish this bag. And let's get a 4th unit for Mad Crypto, King Yeti, and Sega, all asking cool questions. Step away from the mic for 1 second. I gotta blow my nose. Excuse me. Often too much. I'll be right back. Right. I'm back. I don't know why I made that big proclamation. I think I do know. I just diagnosed it in um, my own point of view. There, I thought I had not just muted the mic, but like put up an image that was like, "I'll be right back," but I hadn't. So I sat down, and then I looked at the camera for a second. I was like, "Oh shit, I'm still visible." And I kind of had like a freak out for a second. And then I was like, oh, guys, we're back. I never actually went away. I just muted the mic so you wouldn't hear me blow my nose. We're high. I think we've arrived. Let's get that 4th unit going. Hiker also mentions the side quest, when talking about his quest. And I briefly got confused because I thought he was referring to this whole extra ecosystem on top of the meta quest world called side quest, which is this little side loading community with all kinds of interesting projects and things. I played Doom 3 in VR earlier this year. There's a super easy way to do it. I'm not especially technologically capable dude. I can do some things, but I mess with my directories. I installed the right things. And I played Doom 3 in VR this year through SideQuest. Just a little bonus. Check out SideQuest. It's got some really cool stuff on it. And is mostly sanctioned by Meta, I think. Last little Meta story. And I'm so sorry I've been talking about VR so much today. I can't stop. Holy shit. There was ginormous Meta news last week. Meta, the Quest is no longer the name of the whole ecosystem. It's just the name of the headset because Meta's trying to become Android for VR, which I am so curious to see how this is going to work. They made a huge announcement. Bear with me for a second. It's VR. I love it. But just a cataclysmic announcement happened last week that Meta is going to spin off their whole operating system that they have created for VR, which was originally a variant of Android, and are going to start giving it to third parties to make their own. I think it's called Horizon OS. Their own like VR headsets using Meta's OS, a very Android type scenario, and they already have a bunch of partners involved. Apparently, there's a Xbox branded Quest 3 on the way. I don't know what that's about. But anytime there's any kind of interest in the VR front, especially after that dire conversation we just had, I'm pretty interested. So I hope it works out. Always wishing for success for VR, even if it does literally mean I'm also hoping for the success of Meta, because there are not many other people in that space. God bless you, Apple. Yes. Oh my God. Sega says that my Restream link is broken. Yes, it is. I will fix that later. They expire, and I forgot to change it. I'm too high to do it right now. So that isn't working, but we still do have a Discord. I can put a fresh one out there. That I think I can manage. Let's give this a shot. Guys, I don't think Dead Island 2 is happening. But you know what? I think it was a good thing. I just had so much fun chatting, hanging out, just shooting the shit, that I lost track of. I thought I was like, oh, I'm going to need to. I'm going to play some Dead Island 2, just keep it cool and casual today. But you guys were asking great things. We had some cool conversations, and time got away from us. I love that. I love that, though. And I hope you can at least tolerate it. But we're not done. I do have more units to do. I have a dedication. I'm trying to get this Discord link for you guys. Here we go. Time for Dead Island, not Dead Rising, not Dying Light, not State of Decay, not name your other zombie game. Are we through zombies? We're on the other side of them now, right? I think so. But I think their moment has passed. But you know what? You know what's a really difficult thing to predict as being dead? Zombies. You'd be a fool to say, like, you know what I think is a dead trend? Zombies. Well, excuse me. I think it's the producer with some tips right now. Hey, producer, I'm live at the moment. Do you mind if I call you back? Producer says hi, and she says that you guys have been great, but she also says that I've been slacking, so I can't disagree. Thank you, producer, for the tips. I'll get right back on it, and I promise better things. Please forgive me. All right, later. Sorry about that. Were we? Excuse to just move on. Opposite. If I forgot. That's stale and red tobacco. All right. Speeding through chat. Grovel says, Rhode Island hiker. Everybody did look like they were giving Thrunda Some excellent advice. Appreciate it to anybody who did. It was very generous of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Grovel asks, I wonder if marijuana gets moved to Schedule 2, if YouTube will ease up on weed content creators. Hard to know. Uh, I, I don't. I don't even know how much of it is ever actually decided. Like there were definitely some times there were clear policy changes, but most of the time I think it's just algorithmically, like, and YouTube, including with all across Alphabet's and Google's services, intentionally does not invest in customer service apparati, for a variety of reasons. And so I think just frequently it's like something trips something, and there's nobody who can actually fix things on the other side because it's all just algorithms and policies, and nobody with any real power other than, super high ups, and they're just not interested. But I could be wrong. And I hope, and I hope it just gets off the. Yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed. Great question, Grovel. Tiger says he has the Arizer EQ2, which is like the Volcano clone, and he's been topping his bowls with some bubble hash and been really enjoying it. Well, that does sound great. I've not heard of the Arizer EQ2, but if it is based on the Volcano, probably going to be great. But that bubble hash little sprinkling, that does sound pretty cool. I don't see bubble hash that frequently anymore. When I was first here, it was still, you'd see it somewhat often in dispensaries, but maybe I'm just not looking for it. I think, obviously hash has sort of gone out of fashion. There are other ways of making and manufacturing concentrates, but it sort of still does have that nostalgic appeal for a lot of people. Mark, welcome, Mark. Good to see you. Mark says, I'll consume one weed for every cool question. Let's get high and hang out. He says, why isn't there a vaccine for the common cold? Tell me I nailed the assignment. Well, Mark, you will get packaged. I failed. I've tried bundling the questions at this point. And let's shut up and do this. This is for all the cool questions we've had. I think I named all of you the wonderful people earlier who gave us those great questions. King Yeti, Matt, Crypto, and Sega. And of course you, Mark, as well. Why isn't there a vaccine for the common cold? It's because the common cold. But excellent. What's the term of art for it? Shit posting, I guess, right? It's kind of a, here's a, no, I don't mean it in a derogatory way, but in the you've alighted upon the thing that will get people riled up. It's a great one for that. But I think the answer is pretty simple in that there is no such thing as the common cold. There are many coronaviruses that mutate, change, evolve's the wrong word for viruses, mutate so rapidly and exchange are so they have that really sweet ability to not kill their host. It's pretty harmless that by the time anybody would develop a vaccine for any particular strain of the common cold, it would have mutated and spread so much that it would be effectively worthless, and you'd have to start from ground zero on the new strain. But could we envision a world where we develop some new. Let's not get too. I'm going to take the bait a little bit. I'm going to nibble on the bait, but I'm not going to chomp it. Let's say we could envision a world where we could come out with some hyper targeted mRNA vaccines at some insane, even better speed and processes that we have now, which obviously we could. I mean, we're getting better and better at it right now, but that we could really target the common cold in a way. I don't think it would actually be worth the time and resource because it's not, and I know there are autoimmune or immune compromised folks out there that would hardly disagree, but it's such the amount of effort it would take to do something like that versus the payoff, which is colds suck, but they are really not that bad. I mean, they suck in the moment, but you're not going to die unless you are immune compromised or, there's some extra factor, contingency, extenuating circumstance. So I just don't think it would necessarily, the juice ain't worth the squeeze on that. That's going to be my answer to that question. I hope it wasn't too long. Less. I wish vaccines hadn't become such a political issue so that we could actually have a rare moment of like, hell yes, we did something fucking awesome as a species, which is mRNA vaccines. It's a real success story. And like your opinions on COVID vaccines aside, as a medical breakthrough, it's huge and sort of unheralded in a way because of its associations with the coronavirus. Here we go. Thank you for all your wonderful questions. Miklo, welcome, Miklo. Miklo says, best edible in LA, I'll say hands down, hash tabs by level. Miklo, I like the hash tabs. I've reviewed them, I think twice, 2 different types of them. I don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure, Miklo, I said that they are the best capsules, tabs, whatever, for THC out there. I don't traditionally have the most luck with soft gels, with like MCT infused oil or whatever in them. They don't, often they have a hugely delayed effect because, it takes whatever time for that extra gel capsule to break down. And then, I don't know, I think that they are usually one of maybe the most inferior method of doing an edible that you can do, in my opinion. I have much better luck with tinctures than I do capsules. But the hash tabs by level definitely buck that trend. They're these tiny little pressed tabs, and they hit just as hard as any other thing of its sort of potency. And I don't know what their secret sauce is, and I don't know exactly what makes other tablets or capsules so ineffective, at least for me, but I totally agree with you on the hash tabs. Thank you for the recommendation. DX2. Thanks, DX2. He says, happy you're back. I enjoy your videos. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday to ya. And then Mark says he has a real question. Well, I took your last question also as a real question, but we also understood that it was a great example of shit posting. He says, for his real question, do you know if the myth that eating mangoes before you smoke makes your high last longer? Mark, not only do I know of this myth, I did a highly inaccurate, methodologically dubious, take no real value from it video on this early in Wheats. I'm talking 2017. So I'm talking year one, years ago. I did a video that was like, hey, there's this, association with mangoes and edibles. And I tested it out. And I will hold you in suspense as to my conclusions. But if you search for Wheats mango, I bet you'll find it. That was a weird, that was a one-off from the early days. The archive of archives. Great question, though. Okay, made at the end. Rhode Island Hiker says, sorry, man, I'm a VR nerd, and I keep getting you sidetracked. It's hard to play flat screen games after you get the VR bug. Rhode Island Hiker, please, for the love of God, do not apologize. It is, you are giving me a gift, my friend. You're giving me the excuse to gab about VR. It isn't not at all a thing you need to I appreciate it. Any excuse I have to, proselytize gab about VR, I will take it. Mark says he must have missed that since he's been here day one. Yeah, my bad, man. Or maybe, just like me, you've memory hold that one. I was just talking earlier about some reviews that I totally don't remember doing it. And maybe like an AI chatbot, maybe I just hallucinated it. Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it's a statistical anomaly because I'm not a real consciousness. I'm just let's not get too high into that talk. Let's not go down some rabbit holes. My cherry on top for that last video, that little bonus 420 review, my drops, I had a cherry on top, Redetermined by Robert Sapolsky. If you want to know, the canard of canards here, topic of topics is, determinism on Wheats. Well, we love determinism here. And God bless him, Robert Sapolsky wrote it all down, made it all intelligible for people. Actually knows what he's talking about. It came out in November of last year. It is fantastic. It is truly wonderful. Give it a check. It's so great. I love it so much. Determined by Robert Sapolsky. Bonus extra cherry on top. Extra bonus. Already cherry on top, but it's that good. And it really is. We talk so much about it here, and it's the tome I've always wanted to see somebody write, and they wrote it so beautifully. GTR0, good to see you, man. Welcome. Happy Sunday to you. That's right. Mark says he was a mod on our Twitch before we even did YouTube. That's back in the Who Varda days. Speaking of VR love. Actually, those things, Mark, happened. I was doing Wheats at the same time. I'd already been doing Wheats for a year when I was working on Who Varda back then. But I don't know if people knew from Wheats or not. I don't know what I was doing back then. wasn't a smart guy. Just figuring things out, playing it by ear. Um, wow, what a great name though. Who Varden? Really, two of my favorite loves, VR and fart jokes. Let's sign off with a fantastic stream here, guys. It has been so much fun. I thought I was gonna play some games, just keep it nice and chill, but no, I had so much more fun just hanging out, shooting the shit with everyone. It really is so much fun talking to you guys. I mean it. It's cool. Brings me joy. And I should be back tomorrow. I'm gonna do this Dead Island 2 for real this time. Maybe we'll just start that way, so it definitely happens. But regardless of what happens, I hope some of you guys come back, join us then. It's so much fun hanging out, getting high. You guys ask great questions. Sorry for bundling them, but I'm gonna say I got the spirit right. Maybe missed that letter of the law, but the spirit. Live stream. We'll talk more about how I have. I'm a low moral person with that doesn't practice what I preach by talking about yet another excellent product bought and sold by Meta, a company that's done more harm than good for the world. But you'll have to wait for tomorrow to hear more about that. What a shitty teaser. Hard to imagine anybody's going to be like, well, I gotta stick around for that. Like programs about low moral characters. GTR0 says, cheers and enjoy the sun today. What an excellent, excellent, excellent thing to close this out. Thank you so much, GTR0. It's been so much fun, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow, I hope.